Hi everybody, I am here to share with you my super raw, unfiltered Beachbody success story. So I am about to start my workout and I wanted to film this. So this is the look that you're getting for this video. I hope that you'll just appreciate what I have to share with you and won't mind all of my flaws and imperfections. So what I want to share with you is that from the time that I can remember, it's always been a financial struggle. And I don't mean, since just I got married or since we've had our son. I mean from the time that I can remember as far back as my life goes, it's been a struggle. And those are the reasons that I do what I do for my son's birthday parties. When I get called crazy, like, oh my gosh, you put so much into his parties. Birthday parties are a really big deal to me. Birthdays are a really big deal to me. I love to celebrate myself. I love to celebrate everybody that I love, my family, my friends, and especially my son. So I make it a big deal. When I think back on my birthday parties, um, they were very small. I was always celebrated and loved, but parties were very few and far in between, and it was hard. It's a lot. It's a lot of work to put those things together and invite everybody over and invite them into a place that maybe you weren't proud of. So there's little things like that, and it's reasons why when I take my son to the store, it's really hard for me not to just like grab him a shirt here or pick up a little pirate toy, stuff like that, because those things were not, those things weren't possible for me as a child. And it was, gifts were Christmas, gifts were, a few on your birthday, a few at Christmas, and that's just how it was. So do I think that I spoil my son rotten? No, because he is taught that he earns things and he has his own bank account, and we're teaching him those things. But it's something that I want to do for him because with my husband and I working so hard, we want to do those things for our son, and we're able to do those things for our son, so we want to. Um, when I was a kid and a teenager, we had frequent trips of going to churches and getting, donation bags of food, and pass down, hand-me-downs, things like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, my son to this day, we get hand-me-downs like crazy. I love it. I'm so grateful. I have friends who are willing to ship their son's clothes across the country for me, and I mean, that is so helpful. It really helps a family. But there were times that was our only source of, me and my brother, our school clothes and things like that. So I love just running into Target and getting things that I need and then seeing a cute little dinosaur shirt and picking it up for my son, because those things mean a lot to me. So, I remember there was school years where my brother and I, it was, pick out a couple pairs of sweats and some t-shirts, and that's going to be your school clothes for the year. And I can truthfully promise you and tell you that I don't remember either of us making a scene, yelling about it, crying about it, because that's what we knew. And we were never bratty kids. We were never unappreciative. And, we knew that's what it was. We knew that's what our option was. And so we went with it. I got some different fun colors than my brother, and, he got the boy ones and I got the girl ones, and we got our knockoff shoes that looked like ones that our friends had, and it was just our life. It was just the way that things were. And I think I never had, an anger and an animosity inside of me, because when it all comes down to it, we didn't have that life because my mom was an alcoholic or a drug abuser, or, our parents were nowhere to be around, nowhere to be found. Both of our parents were working, and it was always at least one job. So it's just the way that things were. My parents were divorced, and my mom did her best. And no, things weren't always perfect and peachy, but we had parents and we had a mom, and so at the end of the day, we were not throwing anything in her face. We were not lashing out and being crazy because we had this awful life. It was what we knew, and we went with it, and we enjoyed it, and we looked forward to our weekend trips to the laundromat where we would get our Little Caesars pizza, and that was our one day to have soda, and we just dealt with it. So anyway, that was my childhood, and that's the way that I always remembered it. So years way down the road, when I met my husband, I already had my career. I was a hairdresser, and it was my life. I put all of my energy and time and love and effort into it, and had my career, and I did my best with it and developed a lot of who I am during that time, and built some great relationships and learned a lot of work ethic. But once we got married, we wanted a family, and we moved across the country from California, where I'm from, to New England, where my husband's from, where I wanted to settle down and have a family here. And we thought it'd be really easy for us because my husband is a two-time Marine War veteran, and we thought it would be very easy for him to get into law enforcement with the job, with his background. And I was now dual licensed to do hair in California and here where we are now. So we thought it would be no problem. And it took us, 6 to 8 months to lock in some jobs. And by jobs, I don't mean what we are doing now. My husband's the first job offer that he got was him working at Walmart. So our life changed a lot, and credit cards started to rack up because we had car insurance, we had bills to get paid, we had a lot of things to cover. And Walmart, though it was a blessing and though it was a humbling experience, it wasn't providing what we were used to, and everything that we had saved was now gone. And we still had car insurance, and we still had to try to eat, and mostly we still had to try to hide from my family in California that we were struggling, because you don't want to be 22 years old and be told, I told you so. You moved across the country, you can't do it, come back home. I couldn't do that. I guess I had that pride, and I wanted to be newlyweds that were figuring it out and trying our best and gonna make this happen. So in 2008, we had our car repossessed, and we were living with family because we couldn't afford to live on our own. So we were newlyweds, and all the while we just wanted a family. So we're sitting there praying and wondering, why isn't our turn? Why can't we start our family? When is it going to be our turn to all this? And we, at one point, I remember we were living with my husband's father, and we were in our little room, and we were sitting on the bed, and we were rolling change together. And I told him, just get up and take a picture. And he was like, of what? And I'm like, of me sitting here rolling this change to pay for our gas for me to get him to Walmart with our one car. And the other one had been repossessed. I said, just take a picture. So he put a little timer on, and he came over and he jumped on the bed and he took a picture of us on the bed, and he's like, you're crazy. And I told him, one day we're going to look back and we're going to know that this was our foundation. This was us as newlyweds, and this was us just learning and soaking in that experience and knowing that this is the beginning, and there's a harvest for us. I know that because I know that there's bigger plans, and I had no idea at all what our future was going to consist of, and there's still so much ahead of us, but I definitely had no clue at all where we would end up just a couple years down the road. So we have that picture, and it's in our photo album, and we see it, and we can actually laugh now and say, oh my gosh, look, So years down the road, as we continued to pray and hope and just try to figure everything out, my husband was able to get into the career that he is into now. He is a deputy sheriff in Boston, and I was able to get a job in a salon and put in some time there. And when the time came that we finally got pregnant, after years and hard times and hurt, my husband and I decided that though it was going to be quite a sacrifice and financial change for us to go from the two incomes that we were finally able to get into, go down to one, and me to quit, because not only was I having a very sick pregnancy, but we decided that as soon as a child was in the picture that I was going to be full-time. It's a old-fashioned thing that we agreed on as basically when we were dating, that when the time came that we had a family, that we were growing a family, it was time for me to be home and prepare to be a mother and be a full-time mother, because I didn't want to ever have anybody raise our child. I didn't want to miss any first words. I didn't want to miss any first steps. Didn't want to have somebody else raise our child. So I quit the job at the salon, and we ended up again moving in with family, because even though he was working, we had so much debt from credit cards from the time that we struggled, and it just racked up and it racked up, and interest rate is the devil. And so now we were living with his mom, and I was pregnant and bills were stacking up, but we were truthfully just living in joy, knowing that even though we were in that situation, we are growing our blessing, and the baby's doing healthy, and I'm pushing through, and everything's okay, and we'll get through it. After I had my son, I lost the weight quickly, and over time of me having that focus on him and just pouring everything into him, I completely lost myself. I never went back to work, so I wasn't out in, the adult public world. I was home, and he was my life, and I hid inside, I guess, a lot, and I didn't care, because I had my son and I had my husband, and when we were a family together, I was completely happy. I didn't love myself. I didn't love who I had turned into, but I got to turn into a mommy, and I got to fulfill our hope of growing a family. So I had that joy, but I hated myself physically, and I hid in all these, big clothes, and I hid indoors so that the public wouldn't see me and just the two people that loved me would. Well, when my son was almost 2, I discovered P90X, and I asked my husband to do it with me, because he was almost 300 pounds and I was almost 200 pounds. I had no more excuse of, I have a baby, this is baby weight. He was almost 2, and there was no more excuse. It was, you've never been this crazy heavy girl, and now I was obese, and I was just really hating myself, and I asked him to do it with me, and he completed it with me. 3 months, an hour a day, and when we completed that, we did Insanity, and we completed that together. Together, my husband and I lost 115 pounds, and I decided to team up with the company that allowed me to do this. I got to do this 100% from home. I never had to leave my son. I never had to put him in daycare so I could go work out at the gym for an hour. I never had to do any crazy strict diets. I cut out all the cupcakes and all the crap I was eating, and I invested in me. I gave myself the love that I had been giving my son and my husband for so long, and I said, look, you are worth it. You can love yourself too. I have never loved myself. I always looked at myself as somebody who will never be anything better than what I was. So why even try? Why even put any more effort? You're always just going to be average. You're always just going to be chunky. But I was done. I was fed up, and I wanted to do it for myself. It was never for anybody else. It was for me. Well, what ended up happening was that I had to post what I was doing on my Facebook, and I created an Instagram, and I was posting these things as proof to myself, accountability, to show that if I wasn't doing it and I wasn't posting it, that it wasn't happening, that I knew I must have been slacking off. So all the while I was posting that, I was inspiring other moms who were fighting what I was fighting through, and feeling what I was feeling. And they were, waiting. They were waiting to see, is this going to get too hard? She's so big. Is she going to fall off? And 8 months later and 50 pounds down, I wasn't falling off. I wasn't going anywhere. I was determined. I was ready. And it was because I was able to do it all from home. I didn't have to sacrifice my life for this. This is a lifestyle, so I still eat what I want. I still do the things that I want, but everything is balance and moderation. So through that, I became a coach with the company and grew a team of women, of mommies who want that. And this is truthfully a business where I get to grow spiritually and financially, because I'm paying it forward. I had a transformation of products that I love, a company that I 100% stand behind, and because of that, I get to benefit so many lives. I get to benefit my family. And like I said, when my husband and I decided that I was done working, when we decided to grow a family, and when the time finally came that, our son was here, we realized there's never going to be a time that I can financially contribute. And that was okay. We knew we would struggle. We knew that's what was going to happen. And when I had my transformation and I was so blessed to make a career out of this, I had no idea that a year and a half later, I would be matching my husband's income. So I am still 100% home with my child, who is down for his nap right now as I am making this video and then going to work out and shower in time for him to wake up and us to play together. I get to meet my husband's income. My husband is no longer working crazy overtime. He is here with us. He works 5 days a week and he gets paid bi-weekly. I get paid weekly. And when he told me, oh my gosh, honey, you're making what I'm making and you're doing what you love, you're helping other people. That's your nature. That's been your heart since I've known you. You are a helper, you are a rescuer, you are a lover, and I have a servant's heart. So I get to do what I love and be with my son and be with my family and have that balance. And these girls that I get to be on a team with and have in my life can change my family this much. I mean, how is this possible that I get to do this, call this my job, call this my career, and now my husband gets to be home more. Now I just got my dream car. Those are material things, I mean, I'm paying our mortgage because he's done enough. He's covered us for years. He's worked and slaved away and put in so many hours and done everything. And now I want the mortgage on my plate. I want the new windows that got installed in our home on my plate. I needed a new computer for work, and he said, let's just go and we'll put it and we'll pay it off. And I told him, no, I'm not buying that new computer until I can pay for it cash. We're not putting anything on credit cards. I am tackling slowly but surely our credit cards, as I'm trying to also, like I said, I want to cover the mortgage for us. I want to pay for things in cash. 2 days ago, for our very first time ever, we got to pick out our own living room set. Everything that we take in is hand-me-downs because that is what you get used to. But you know what? You walk through the valley of the shadow of death. You don't build a house in it and get cozy and settle and say, this is just where I have to hang out. This is where I have to stay. No, you decide to walk through it, and you get to your harvest, and you get to your castle, and you get to your dreams because you believed you were just walking through. I believe that there was more for me. I believe that God gave me this heart for something more than, I shouldn't say just, but yes, than just to share with the small people that I'm around, the small group of people that I'm around. There is so much that I want to do for others, and so much that these people can grow. There's so much for them to grow into. And that's my purpose. That's my dream. And my goal is for other women and other mommies to see that they can have self-worth and self-love, and that they can do the things that they always dreamed of and have the life that they want, all while still balancing and just being themselves. You don't need to be perfect. Um, Trust me, I'm not perfect. And I made this video looking like this, and that's because this is my life. This is a lifestyle. But I want to share my Beachbody success with you because it's real and it's raw. And in September will be my 2-year anniversary with the company. And I never dreamed that I would get to the point that I am, and I know that this is just the beginning. So I hope that you will take the time to think about what this opportunity can be for you and your family. And if you have any questions, please know that I'm always here, and I'm excited for you. So I hope that you really take it in and think about it and talk to your spouse and figure out if this is for you. Nothing is an accident, and you came here for a reason. Thank you for taking the time to watch this.